Welcome to Sabes Que. Did you know? I'm your host, Jesse BERMUDEZ. My co-host, world-renowned percussionist Pablo Batista, here at USALAMEDIA. Both Pablo and I are excited to have on our show this lovely young lady. Pablo, I want you to introduce her because you and her are on the path of great successes in your career.
Well, it's my honor. I this is my sister here. I played in her band, and everybody knows her all around the globe. But we're gonna bring it to you straight here. We got her with us here at Sabes Que. She's an amazing, accomplished, articulate, beautiful young lady that everybody should know about, and her name is Miss Crystal Torres, my sister Crystal. Welcome to Sabes Que,
Right.
Crystal.
Hi, thank you for having me. What an honor to be with you all. My goodness.
Yeah,
This
the
is cool.
honor is ours, believe it.
Oh man, this brings back so many memories. I love you. You all are like family, and Philly is my hometown, born and raised, North Philly, and I take you all everywhere I go. Anytime we see
Well,
each
let's
other,
start.
like time
Let,
is coming back.
let's start from the beginning. Let's start. Everybody wants to know, Crystal, where did you come from? Your roots. You're born. I want to know everything. This is it. This is you.
Okay. Well, I'm a singer-songwriter and trumpeter and music producer. I live in Los Angeles right now, but I am born and raised in Philly, North Philadelphia. I am Boricua born, blood raised by 4 or 5 generations of strong Philly Rican women and men. Uh,
Wow.
and I got my start in Philly. My mother is, I want to say, second or third generation Puerto Rican, born in Philly. She met my father in the Navy. They both went out to see what the world had to offer them, and they met at a party in Chicago. And here I am. They moved back to Philly, and I got my start in the playing trumpet in the Philadelphia public school systems.
All
In
right.
North Philly at Morrison Elementary School. If anybody knows who the teacher is who was teaching in the 90s, God bless them. Thank you. They literally gave me a start. And
Wow.
the rest is history from there. We moved, once I got to middle school, we moved out of Philly, out of North Philly, into Levittown, Pennsylvania. And then I went on to study at William Patterson University, and got into jazz. When I grew up, there was salsa everywhere. We lived in, a black and Latino neighborhood, lots of Puerto Ricans everywhere. So, but then also there was salsa playing everywhere. There would be live festivals, going to the Camden waterfront, the Philly Puerto Rican Day Parade. AMLA was a big part of my childhood. Thank you, Jesse. That was my only exposure to private lessons, really. Um,
Wow.
at AMLA there until I went to high school, and then I met an incredible teacher and mentor, my high school teacher at Harry Truman High School, Ken Melton. And from there, I just progressed. I went on to study jazz performance at William Patterson University, and I lived right outside of New York City for a few years after college, and I got my professional start with Clark Terry in his big band, which
Oh.
was an absolute dream come true. I was living my dream. And then I also was singing at the time. In college, I started singing. I sang in churches on and off in Philly, but I was I was a painfully shy child. So trumpet was easier to hide behind, the volume and the instrument. But in college, I got the courage to say, I'm really going to sing. I want to sing. This is something I also want to do. And so I also met and got to be mentored for a bit by the great Dr. Billy Taylor, a pianist from Washington, D.C., and sang in a group that he put together at the Kennedy Center. He was the artistic director at the time. So my first start professionally was by the elders, by the true walking jazz history, like greats in Black American music. And I really see salsa and Latino music, which is a lot of my roots, and jazz. All of them are stemming from West Africa. It's all Black music. And so I'm very honored to get my start in the true roots and people who were walking history books, not only of the music, but of the culture, and what their generations went through. So back to my path. I'm studying at William Patterson University. I met Clark Terry there. He invited me to tour with him and Dr. Taylor. And eventually I went on to sing and play trumpet in Roy Hargrove's group, fusion neo-soul group called the R.H. Blackman. And very briefly for about a year. And shortly after that, I auditioned for the Beyoncé band and was chosen to be a part of that. And many, many, many other adventures and beautiful things have unfolded from all those experiences. I can't wait till we can go over all the details and how all these stories happen. But those are my roots are Philly, Latino music, hip hop, jazz, anything that is Black American music. That is, those are my influences. My dad was an Earth, Wind, and Fire fanatic and also a Fania fanatic. So, and then my mom would listen to RTI, and El Viaje at nighttime, and then I had Power 99 and the yeah, so all of those things were the soundtrack to my whole life, my foundation.
Yeah, well, on that note, Pablo, we're going to show that little clip. Am I right? Pablo,
Yeah, this is awesome. Yeah, let's show it now. This is awesome. Check this out, guys.
I'm stuck here just counting time, losing faith, losing my mind. I lost count, getting so up. Please help me up. About 9 months stuck inside, losing track, losing my mind. Can't decide how I should feel about this life. With weed, wine, conversation, books, sex, meditation. No place to be still. I'm losing sleep. No explanation. Walks, plans, relaxations. Harder than it seems. Just to sit and breathe. With Sundays on repeat. And the world is getting crazy. Try not to let it get to me. There's too much that's left unsaid. Too much noise inside my head. I've been stuck in between what you hear and what I mean. What I mean is I don't know what's the truth, which way to go. Maybe I'll just stay inside. With weed, wine, conversation, books, sex, meditation. No place to be still. I'm losing sleep. No explanation. Walks, plans, relaxations. Harder than it seems. Just to sit and breathe. When Sunday's on repeat. Yeah, and the world is getting crazy. Maybe that's just me. Sunday's on repeat. Maybe that's just me. Sunday's on repeat. Protect my peace, protect my peace. I'll stay inside and find relief. Protect my peace, protect my peace. See you in 2023.
It's funny when sometimes people blur the lines and lose sight of the goal and the mission. When you're hired as a sideman, your job is to support and to help them shine. Sometimes you get a moment to shine as well, but just you being on the stage and being there is your shine, and it's your job to lay a comfortable bed, like create a comfortable frame for them to be the art and be the artist, you know. Well,
You know what,
Wow.
Crystal? That's what I love about you, because you really have learned your craft. You've really studied everything, not just your singing and your playing, but the dynamics of all of the things that need to be done in order for you to be that supporting role that you play. And then I looked at this, and then it's like, oh, Beyonce is saying, "All right, you go out there and do your thing." I thought that was great, man.
yeah, yeah. At that time, she was very big on giving a platform to all the women in the group. Everyone was well studied and in their own right, in their own expertise and genre, and she wanted the world to see that women can be just as good, if not better, than their male counterparts. You know, or just that we're equals. And it really started a trend. You know, that was in 2007. You know, and now seeing, you know, women on stage, especially in the pop realm, is very normal. But back then, you know, Prince was the last person who had done something like that.
Right, right.
Right, right. Yeah. And there were several other women groups, but in rock and roll, like the Bengals and people like that.
Yep.
But man, in R&B
Yep.
and pop music, that was unheard of. Like, and she was the biggest of the big. I mean, she's still amazingly huge. And so, with that being said, I know, because I mean, Beyonce is Beyonce. We all love her, and I know we're all grateful for her music. But you're also playing all kind of different styles, like you're playing with Alejandro Sanz, right? I mean,
Yeah,
come on,
yeah. That's quite a change of pace.
right?
Those horn parts are much more aggressive and have all types of fusion. I've learned so much about flamenco music and just many
Uh,
other, and he's very rock oriented, but at the same time he loves jazz and R&B and blues, you know. So that band is a challenge and school for me, because I'd say a third of the band is Catalan, which is a whole nother section of they're not Spanish. They see themselves as a whole different culture, and they have a different style and how they interpret music and how a different language. And then there's the other third of the band is Spanish, and then the last third of the band is American. We're either Puerto Ricans that were born in the States, or you know, Mike Ciro's there as a musical director. He's Italian, but I call him honorary Puerto Rican because he grew up in the Bronx. The American,
right,
very hip hop influence and R&B and neo soul, and you know, and our style, the New York, like the Fania salsa kind of vein.
right.
So it's a wonderful blend, and rehearsals with that band are always an adventure. You know, we never know what kind of fusion of sounds are gonna come up. You know, we have this amazing flamenco guitarist, Pau, and then we'll have like Mike Ciro playing rock, like, you know, hard rock and gospel. You know, it's a beautiful group. I enjoy playing with them very much, and
Wow.
and singing. I sing a lot in that group, which is very fun.
Do you guys spend a lot
Well,
of time in Latin America, or how vast do you travel with Alejandro?
Yeah, we do. We do a lot of summer tours in Spain, and then we will spend like months in Mexico, and then we'll do South and Central America usually. We were actually last year we were in the middle of we were just starting our South America tour before the shutdown happened, and
Wow.
yeah, we go to like Paraguay, Colombia, Panama. I'm trying to think where else. We've been plenty of places. It's all a blur at this point, but definitely a lot of Latino America.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
so now that the pandemic seems like to be kind of over,
Mhm.
you going to see a surge in work again?
I believe so. I believe so. It's been quite an interesting year. I honestly needed the rest, my body and just my mind. I've been nonstop since uh, for 15 years, so it was nice to have that break. I wish it had been under different circumstances, but I definitely
Right.
see by next year, everyone's going to be touring. I hear that people booking tours and gigs and festivals, there's like a line of artists, like they can't even, there's not enough space or time to book all the people that they want to book. And I think that once things are fully safe, you know, people are really going to want to be out. It's going to be the roaring 20s all over again, in my opinion.
It sounds great to me.
Yeah.
Wow.
me,
I
me
I
too.
can't wait.
don't think they're going to book me though, but I mean, it's like What can I say? Boy, this
Yeah.
is it. This interview is so wonderful.
Oh,
I mean,
Yeah.
we all know each other for
yes,
long periods of time, and just to see the growth, for me to see the growth of both of you individuals, it's like, yo, this is what it's all about.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I remember us with Tino and Nike, all the group like going to where we played
Yeah,
in like Harrisburg. I was like 12 or 14 with all the
yeah,
friends from North Philly. It was such a good time.
the rumberitos,
Yeah,
right?
yes. Thank you, Jesse. That was our training ground.
Yeah, and you were the big first horn that came to
Yes.
to the group. You
Yes.
and another guy. There was another young man that was with you.
I forget who.
Yeah, but he was a friend of yours because y'all were together. But
Yeah.
anyway, great. Then from there to here, oh my God, that makes me feel that makes me feel so good. You just don't know. That's why I'm going to live till about a couple hundred years old.
I hope
Just
you
when I
do.
think.
I hope you do. Yeah.
So do I. Hey, so Crystal, let me ask you.
Yeah,
So your family, your mom and dad, they're still around. What's happening? Camden and your
Yeah,
mom.
my family,
What's
they're
happening?
in Philadelphia. They were in DC for a little bit. My mother she's worked in the postal service my whole life, and she got a big promotion. I'm super proud of her, but they just made their way back to Philly, and I see myself eventually going back home. Music has taken me all around the world. It was my dream to see the world. I have this little globe back here to remind me when I used to like be a little
Uh,
girl, spending weekends at my grandmom's on like front in Wyoming. She had this globe, and I just used to spin it and close my eyes and be like, wherever my finger lands, that's where I'm going. Oh, Johannesburg, South Africa, that's where I'm going. Spin it again. Bangkok,
boom,
Thailand, that's where I'm going. Yeah,
boom.
definitely. And so, music has taken me all around the world, but I tell them, the love and support of my family, my parents, my whole extended family, the whole community, you, Jesse, Pablo, everybody who I came across as a little girl, I took that with me everywhere. And that gave me the courage to kind of follow where music wanted me to go, because it's not always so cut and dry, and there's no one path, and it's often, nothing is promised. Things can be very uncertain. This business can be very rough. There's not a lot of loyalty all the time. So it's like, to have that support of my parents and my sister, my husband now, who was my boyfriend way back. We were high school sweethearts. That's been a great source of strength for me, and my parents are doing great. Thank God, they're still super proud. They're still very supportive.
Yes.
And I think in the next few years, this past year has given everyone a chance to recognize how fleeting life can be, and how fragile. So at some point, I see myself back in Philly, and becoming a much more active part of the community out there, and being around my family more often. But in the meantime, technology has been wonderful for us to stay connected.
yes,
Well,
this
we
is what's
can't we
happening
can't
right now.
Yeah.
we c- we can't wait for you to come back home either, Crystal. We love you, and anyway, so if you don't come back home, I go over there and I go and find you because we just had lunch. We just had lunch at the Grove. We
Yeah.
go track each other down. You can't
I,
get away from us too far.
Absolutely not. I love it. You can come here anytime. More Philly energy in LA. I feel like more and more. I've been here now 9 years. We moved out here for my husband. He's an audio engineer. He got offered a wonderful job opportunity out here. Ironically, I tour. I haven't been on the LA scene much, but whenever each year that passes and we're out here, I notice more and more people from the East Coast, more and more Philly people are coming here,
Right.
more Chicago people. There's more East Coast and Midwest energy coming to the West Coast, which is beautiful. I love it.
That's cool. That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
cool.
Well, I think the only time you're going to come back to Philly is when you stop swerving that map around because there's
Yeah.
so many locations.
The globe. The
The
globe, Jesse, the
globe,
globe.
man. Yeah, the globe.
Every time I say I'm done, the
Yeah,
girl's like, "You sure? You got a couple of more
yeah, yeah.
countries you haven't seen yet."
But
Yeah, nah.
but isn't part of your success also that you had a dream? Right?
Absolutely.
Isn't dreaming important?
Absolutely. And my dream was never, like I said, I still am very shy, and stage fright is still a thing. You just become shyness or like stage fright for me. it's repetition and practice and preparation that allows me to work through it. It doesn't go away. It just becomes like an old friend, like, oh, hey, you again, come on, let's go hit the stage. But for me, my dream was just to be great at trumpet. I didn't have a dream of playing with big stars or doing something. I've never ever taken well to the concept of fame. And then I've seen firsthand on many different levels. I've worked with many different types of artists, not just Beyonce, lots of artists. And I've seen on the, different levels what fame can do to someone, and how much that ego can really trip us up and mess with our sense of reality and our sense of self.
Right.
So for me, it's like, I just wanted to really be great at what I do and to be recognized for that in some way, and so supporting artists was a very good way for me to do that, to live that out. But it led to me doing other things where now I'm ready to do my own stuff too. I'm not so afraid of stepping out anymore,
But the fact that the dream was for you to be great, you didn't know how that was going to take place, but you had that dream to be great.
Oh,
and guess what? You're great. Let me tell you, you're great.
I'm still working on it, but thank you.
Yeah,
You are great. Yeah, it's so
definitely,
cool.
definitely.
This is so cool.
You have a scary resume. It's like, ooh,
I know.
my God.
It's funny, that imposter syndrome will get you. There's times when even myself, like, I'll feel down, or I may have doubts about the future or where I'm supposed to be. And then sometimes when I look at that resume, I'm like, what? How dare you doubt what has been placed in front of you, or what you were set to do, and all these beautiful elders who put in their time and their energy into you, so yeah, that's all that is. I'm sharing that just to tell anyone who's struggling or who's trying to do something, make something. It's like, even me, who you may see a resume or have this perception, like, we all go through it, and we all have uncertainty, we all have doubts, and it's important to step past that and think beyond yourself.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, to be able to get past that, because if you do, then you're on your way to where you want to go, and everybody can't do that though, neither. But of course it's not difficult,
Yeah,
I mean, it's not easy, put it that way.
and I do recognize too, it's something of timing, and the law of attraction I believe in heavily, because I know there's plenty of colleagues of mine or friends or people I've known that are vastly talented. There's how many 9 billion people, 8 billion people walking on this earth. There are so many talented humans walking around, and you can put all the work in and be incredible, and not get a shot, so I do understand how very fortunate I am. I also understand the power of your mindset and what you tell yourself.
Right, so important.
Yeah, I'd like to share too, like, meditation has been a very, very big tool for me in my success and in continuing to build on it. Meditation, I like to think of prayer as speaking to God, and meditation as listening. And often when we take that time of silence, without a phone, without a TV, without a significant other, without family around, you get to really hear and understand what your subconscious is saying. And if you don't like some of the things you're hearing, you can reprogram that and change it. And that really changes the trajectory of your life when you give yourself that alone time and that time to do it's called shadow work, embracing and recognizing our shadows, and instead of pushing it away or trying to drink it or spend it or sex it or drug it away, it's like you deal with it, and then you heal yourself, and you don't have to run and hide from things, and you can really become powerful, step into your own purpose.
Wow, very well said.
And you sound, and you got your bangles. And you sound strong. And you're so beautiful. It's like you're like Wonder Woman. I mean, I'm like my sister there, bro.
They will hold my superpowers. Yeah.
I love you. That's so cool.
I love you too. I love you both.
On that note, we're going to take a break, and we'll be back with Sabes Que, Did You Know, and Crystal Torres.
Okay, we're back on Sabes Que with your co-host Pablo Batista and my host Mr. Jesse Bermudez. And today we're so blessed to be talking to the incredible Miss Crystal Torres, who's an amazing trumpet player, composer, arranger, vocalist, all around amazing musician who's backed up, oh my God, hundreds of artists, I think, in her resume. It's so eclectic. And actually, Crystal, you brought some footage with you with some of the other artists you work with, right? Am I correct?
I did, yeah. I have a couple of them on there.
Cool. Well, let's take a look at you guys, so the world could see what some other amazing artists that you work with.
Which are only a few on this video.
Yeah, that's a couple.
Oh, really? Okay. I haven't seen it yet.
Shown this to old, young, no matter what type of music people like, this tends to speak in something that's louder than all of that, which is true. It's about losing someone or being able to walk away from all of it, whether it's someone who's passed on, who really was a pillar in your life, or whether it's just moving away from a love that no longer serves the both of you. It's okay to walk on, leave it be, and just reminisce. Focus on the good. Not to run back to the good, but just to focus on that good and how you grew from it. So I hope that it speaks to you. There are so many times I catch you running through my mind. Feels like you're still here with me, but I know that's impossible. Our time running its course, and just like an ocean wave, reached its height just to fade away. But it's okay, 'cause I'll reminisce. I'll reminisce over you. I'll reminisce over you. What a gift, yeah. What a gift, what a gift. Reminisce over you. Over you. There are so many ways we get caught up in yesterday and lose sight of the things to come. Holding on to a memory, you know the sun will rise, yeah, and replace all those sleepless nights. Only time's gonna make it right, and it's okay for you, yeah. To reminisce over you. I'll reminisce over you. What a gift, yeah, what a gift. To reminisce over you. Reminisce over you. Don't let time get you heavy heart. Don't wonder why time pulls some closer and some apart, yeah. Don't let goodbye make you forget that, yeah. Things true, my life's forever changed. I'll never be the same because of you. You, yeah. I'll never be the same. Like memory can't erase the ways that light hits your face. Special moments when you fill my life with grace, yeah. Can never be replaced, no. Transcends all time and space. So I'm gonna reminisce. Can't fight it, no, yeah. You know I'll never
Oh
good.
man, hey, I'm so proud of you, Crystal. I don't know what to do. You know what I'm saying? Oh my God. The other thing is too that you haven't told everybody you could sing two languages because I heard you in that video singing Spanish and I say, hey, look,
Ironically, ironically, I say English is my first language speaking, but Spanish is my first language singing. Because
wow.
singing, I used to read all like the liner notes with the lyrics of my dad's salsa records, and I would sing along to them. So the first time I ever sang was in Spanish, always, as a kid.
I'm glad you kept it because a lot of people, they start singing English and then they forget their roots. You
Yeah.
don't forget anything.
No.
You take it to another level.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, with that being said, Crystal, do you think that the fact that you've been diverse in your education and the fact that you can play, you're a multi-instrumentalist, you play piano, you can sing, you play trumpet, you're arranging and you studied musically. Do you think, and the fact that you're bilingual as well, Boricua and totally fluent in English and very articulate at that, may I say. It's always an honor to hear you, and it's like I really enjoy hearing you speak. But do you think all of those things really have contributed to who you are, or
Absolutely.
is there something else?
No, I feel like that diversity. I feel like what's contributed is the village. That old saying that it takes a village to raise a child, and I truly am a product of my environment, which was diverse. Growing up and going from North Philly, I feel like I'm a mixture of extremes, and that's made me who I am. Like growing up in the Badlands and Russell and Tioga, and going to Levittown, which was literally like the intro of Edward Scissorhands. Just like the same colors. It was shocking for me, but in the end, and also spending the summers, my dad's from Buffalo, I would spend the summers in the west side of Buffalo, and then my dad's mother lived there, and his father, who was from the island, lived in the countryside in Colden, New York, on like farmland. And some summers I would spend in Puerto Rico with my aunt, and I go from like straight Monte, Peñuelas, like island living, to Russell and Tioga, to Front and Marshall, just very extreme worlds. And those differences and the constant movement taught me how to adapt. It also taught me how to value people where they are. Like I remember we grew up very meagerly, but there was a sense of community, in the hood. There was a sense of community in the barrio, and even the most flawed person on the block who had her own issues was the same person who set up free lunch for all of the kids and opened up the pompa for us to play in the fire hydrant. So
Right.
I learn how people are not just all one thing. We're such a mixture of stuff, and just all of that for me was an education. All of it was an education. And then of course the formal education of studying at AMLA and taking a few lessons here and there at Temple with Mike Natali, and going to see John Swana
yeah.
with people, at festivals outdoors, and then studying jazz. All of those things really informed me to learn to adapt. And sometimes it felt like a curse because I felt like I wasn't quite a part of anything. But in now looking back, I realized that it allowed me to flourish no matter where I, you could put me in an orchestra, and I even had some of that experience. And even if I was a fish out of water, I learned how to quickly adapt and how to learn and how to forge relationships. And I'm really thankful for the mentorship too, and just all of the I'm thinking in Spanish now, apoyo, all of the support, like the encouragement that I got from everybody. I took those everywhere I went, to deal with the times, with the lulls, with the times when things didn't feel like they were moving forward, or maybe I didn't feel worthy of the opportunity that was given to me. I would on those experiences. So yes, to answer your question, all of that diversity, it's who I am. It is. I'm North Philly and Levittown. I am concrete and Luquillo Beach. Like I'm all of these things.
Right.
And
Hey,
guess
how
what?
long have?
No, go ahead, Pablo.
I'm sorry. How? Just real quickly, because it's one thing to get a big gig. It's one thing to okay, you got a big gig, but it's another thing to have longevity. How long have you been with Beyonce now?
Wow. I've been with her the most part of is since 2007. It's 2021, so that'd be
Oh,
14.
Wow,
no,
13 years, right?
Yeah, going on 14.
13 years.
Yeah, and
yeah, going on 14. Yeah,
and that's not easy. And I have to say there were seasons when I thought that that time was done, and
yeah,
but those seasons were important too because they allowed me the time and space to explore other avenues and get into songwriting. Like I'm now like a full songwriter, and I write and produce. And without that time off, or even some of those doubts or those that even mental space to explore another part of who I am, I would have been able to do that and work with some of the hip hop artists and some of the other pop artists I've gotten to work with as well.
yeah, yeah. Like, throw a
Like,
couple names out there.
yeah, last year I did the Grammys with Lizzo. I
Lizzo.
with Shawn Mendes. I did some stuff with Doja Cat. I've done songwriting with Stalley. He was a Maybach music artist with what's his name, Rick Ross, but now he's indie and he's a great, like a conscious rapper. I write and do hooks with him, and of course Lupe Fiasco. Like I do everything with him.
Uh
His
huh.
soundtrack, who's made Billboard hits, kind of mentored me and taught me, the art of flipping samples and using Ableton, and I on a Lupe track, I really have fun because we're friends and I know that whole camp, and I'll play piano,
That's cool.
trumpet, I'll sing, I'll write a hook, I'll produce a track, I'll co-produce a track. So I have like full freedom to be like my full self there, other than singing in Spanish.
Nice.
But it's been really fun. All of this has been training ground now. I've been writing songs on the road too, all of these years to keep myself sane creatively, and
Yeah.
I have about I just gathered them on like 150 songs, and now I have the time to produce them.
Well,
Nice.
Crystal, I just wanted to say this. I think it's important. You are a tremendous role model for other young ladies who are thinking about, the world of music and entertainment and this and that. And what would you say to them, in the sense of them moving in that direction? Because a lot of people stop people from being in the business because they said, oh, you can't make a living, or you can't this, or you can't that. You have the naysayers, what would you say?
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely had my fair share of that, and or concerned family members, concerned about legitimate things that now as an adult I realize why they were so scared for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
But I would say know who you are, trust your purpose, know that you are enough when you put in the work. And everything's not always going to work out how you planned. For me, my greatest successes and like the most gratifying moments came from me being open to things arriving very differently than how I might have envisioned them. So I think it's important to like set an intention, put in the work, and then detach from the result. Let it come however it's gonna come. Be open, be humble, be willing to learn from everyone. Like everyone has something to teach you. Like even if they don't can't teach you what to do, they could teach you what not to do. There's plenty of people I've worked with that, I learned even more valuable lessons about what not to do and how not to handle things. Um, but I think the important part is being humble too. Being humble. It's a balance of being humble and knowing your worth, because there's going to be a lot of people that may not see your value. But if you keep putting in the work and keep showing up, eventually the right people are going to see that value, especially if you hold yourself in that light. It's not like I haven't been in situations where people, even to this day, feel like, what does she do to deserve this, or she's a cute girl, she can't really play, or whatever, she doesn't, she's sleeping with this guy. Like, no, there's none of that. And I knew what the truth was. I can't control other people's opinion of me. All I can do is put one foot in front of the other and keep working, and have a plan, and don't be too humble to figure out ways to make things work. Like there were times I had to substitute teach when I was living after college in Patterson to make ends
Mhm.
meet. Freelance or teach music, like do performing full time, in other words, isn't always going to pay all the bills. It isn't always going to provide, and that's okay too. You have to learn to adapt, and it doesn't have to be all or nothing all the time, but you have to keep moving forward. If you have a vision, just trust that vision and keep moving forward with it.
Very well said there.
Wow.
And I hope there are a lot of young ladies will look at this, and just people in general that are thinking about doing something in the artistic world. It's very good advice.
I would also say study the greats. Study the greats. They don't have to
Right.
be live. Like you don't have to have access. I didn't have money or access to teachers necessarily when I was young, but I was obsessed with, this one Clark Terry record, and I ended up meeting Clark and working with him. I was obsessed with Roy Hargrove's CD. I listened to it every single night for years, and I ended up getting the opportunity to meet him. I introduced myself and we ended up touring.
Right.
I would also say have the audacity to ask for what you want. Me touring with the RH Factor, at that point, touring with Roy Hargrove, and having done something with Dr. Taylor at the White House. My first singing gig was at the White House. I was happy. That was before Beyonce. I didn't think anything else. I didn't need anything else to be happy. But they came from the audacity of saying, "Hey, like, I sing, if you ever need a singer for that group, let me know." For the Beyonce thing, it was her saxophonist, Tia Fuller. I kept running into her, and I had the audacity to just be like, "Hey, I know you already have a trumpeter, but if for some reason she can't do it or you need someone, please keep me in."
Right.
And she did, so sometimes you have to speak up for yourself as well, but don't expect anything.
Right.
I want to make
Right. So do we have some photos, don't we, Pablo?
Yeah, I did some amazing photos. Let's check them out.
Oh, look at that one.
I think I might have been 11 there. That is on Front
Whoa.
Wyoming at my grandma's apartment, the one I talked about with the globe. And yeah, she insisted that I wanted to bring my trumpet everywhere, even if I didn't practice it. But she used to tell everybody that I played. Everyone in Philly, if you're in the Latin scene, people know her as Mama Lucy. She was so proud of
Yeah.
me, so
Yeah.
shocked. She knew all the salsa musicians from New York. And she was friends with La India, and all those musicians. She'd bring me around when I was about 15. My granddaughter plays trumpet, and I'd be like, "Mama, be quiet, stop."
Yeah.
You whispering in her, stop. And she'd be like, "She plays trumpet, you gotta hear her." That was at her part.
She was a
That's so
beautiful
cool.
lady. She was
Yeah,
beautiful,
shout out to Mama
beautiful.
Lucy. She's still doing she's doing wonderful. Thank God.
Mm-hmm.
That's
She's a
great.
beautiful lady.
Let's see another one here.
Uh-oh, there we go.
The Grammys, yeah. I want to say this is 2013. I think that's my husband Michael and I. We're high school sweethearts. We've been together. We've been married for 13 years. Been together for for
Wow.
more than 2 decades now. And we moved out here for him. He's worked with No ID and Vince Staples and Common and I'm so proud of him. And
Wow.
that year, we were both on Grammy-nominated projects, and one of our dear friends, an incredible producer, Jay Proof, who lived in Philly for a long time, he was nominated for Grammy as well, and he was nominated as a producer, and he brought us as his entourage on the red carpet, and it was a wonderful day.
That's so
Wow.
cool. That's so cool.
So many good memories, right?
Absolutely, yeah. That year, we were all competing. Me and Jay Proof and Michael, the things we were nominated for, were competing in the categories. I forget who.
That's great.
Let's get the next one up there and see. Oh, look out.
Yeah, that is Glastonbury. At that time, that was the biggest crowd I'd ever played for. It's a big festival in the UK. There were about 120,000 people in the audience. It was literally an
Wow.
ocean of people. And we opened for Paul Simon. Actually, no, Paul Simon opened for us. We were the closer. Beyonce was the first Black woman to be the closer for Glastonbury. And that was a really special, special show.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
beautiful.
About that. That's a beautiful picture you showed, too.
Oh, that is the White House for Michelle Obama's surprise 50th birthday party.
Whoa.
Yeah, like I said, my first singing gig, ironically, was at the White House with Dr. Billy Taylor. And that's a story in itself. One day I'll write a memoir and give details of these stories. But from that experience, I remembered you can request a picture with the president if you are invited to a private function like that. So when I found out we were doing that, I was like, "Hey, can we get a picture with the president and first lady?" And like, "I don't know, we'll see." And we played for Michelle Obama's surprise 50th. And afterwards, we were packing up to leave, and they were like, they personally were like, "Are you guys staying?" And we were like, "What?" And they're like, "Please, we want you to stay for the party." And I felt like Cinderella. That was a night to
Whoa.
so many stories of that night and all the people that were there and just how beautiful it was to see such a gracious first family and the first Black president, just see them as humans in a party setting, in the White House. with oil paintings of all these old men with powdery wigs, on the wall.
Right.
Doing the Cupid shuffle in the White House. It was incredible. That night was
That's
life changing.
Yes, it was unbelievable.
that's so cool. We're so proud. Yes, yeah. You make
And
Philly proud, Crystal. Trust me.
yeah, no question about it. We got one more, right? Or was that it?
Well, I think that was it.
You
Yeah.
think that
I
was
think that
it?
was it.
I
Yeah.
don't hear none
Yeah.
here, so I guess it was it then. But that was
Yeah. I
a
think
big one to end with, though. Let me tell you.
Oh yeah.
wow. Wow.
You said, yeah, I love this because you know what the average person doesn't have. We don't get that opportunity to experience these things in life, and it's always good to talk to those who have experienced it because I think what it also does is let people know that hey, these things are out there, and if you reach, you can get them.
Absolutely.
But you got to reach for them. You know what I'm saying? So.
If I can do it, you can do it. I am not more special or more talented or have more skill than any one of you watching this, especially any of you young men and women. I I was you. I am you. If I can do it, you can do it. You have to put in the work and you have to show up and respect your elders and learn. Just show up and learn.
Yeah, and believing in yourself is the one of the most important things because if you do that, then you got it made, because nobody can sway you
Yeah.
away from where you need to be.
Yeah, and surround yourself with supportive people, and if
That's right.
you can't find them, just be them. Just support yourself. No, yeah.
So what is
That's so cool.
your next move, Crystal? I
Yes,
mean, is there something planned right now that this pandemic is lifting and you're gonna
absolutely. I've had so much time to think and touring can be very, it's exciting, but it's also very chaotic. And it's hard to plan your life because you're kind of reacting to calls and you're doing this and that. And you're always living in many places at once out of a suitcase. So this year of stillness has given me a chance to gather all the songs I've been writing. Like I mentioned earlier, lots of songs after the first tour with Beyonce, like 30 songs poured out in 30 days, and that was in '07. Since then, I've continued to write and write and write and look
wow.
at production. So right now, I'm taking all this music and producing it out. I'll be putting out a project that's Crystal the Indigo. I will also be launching a series of meditations and mantras with music for
Mm.
wellness. And where that'll take me. I really believe that every frequency, including the music we put out, and as artists, we are healers. So I hope that some of the music that I put out will inspire some people, to really wake up.
I'm sure. I'm sure it will. It just has to reach their ears, Crystal. That's all.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
This is so cool.
I see you two guys. You, Pablo, and I'd be like, oh boy, I wish I was young again. Maybe I might have selected something to do and follow you guys. You know what I'm saying? Up the
Well, we
ladder
needed
of
you.
success.
Jesse, we needed you where you were at. You built an infrastructure for people like Crystal and myself to teach and help the community. And without you, the Philadelphia would be a different place. And that's why you're here. So we love you. Don't sell yourself short, bro.
But you guys just excite me. You know what I'm saying? So I get excited like a little kid. Oh yeah, I want to do that.
from the excitement you gave us when we were younger and the support, we really did need you. Pablo is speaking nothing but facts and truth.
Thank you guys for those humble words. But guess what? This is really happening. And I'm probably look at this interview about 10, 20, 30, 40 times.
That's awesome.
Oh.
So,
That's cool.
if you were to wish for one thing that you haven't done, or is there anything that you haven't done that you wish for?
Well, there's a couple things. That's funny you say, because about 12 years ago, before I moved out to LA, my husband and I, we put together a vision board, and we decided let's have the audacity, like to be audacious, put the most outlandish faces on this vision board, people we wanted to work with, things we wanted to do. And literally almost every single thing on that page happened. I had
Wow.
I've done some with Oprah. We had Pharrell. We both work with Pharrell. He put Jay-Z really big, and I've done 2 tours with Jay-Z. I put Common real big, and he's Common's engineer. So we flipped. We both were kind of jealous of each other with But
Um,
we are just now kind of putting up our next vision board together. Something I've always wanted to do. This may sound silly, but I always said I know I made it if I'm on Sesame Street. Me on
all right.
Sesame Street is another
Oh,
what raised me and taught me a lot. And I
You,
respect Jim Henson's genius, and the legacy that he left behind.
you know what? You'd be perfect for that too.
I would love it.
Definitely be perfect.
The other thing is,
absolutely.
yeah, the other thing is now for me, the next thing is really pushing my own artistry, and songwriting. I feel like I've done anything I was supposed to do in performing. I'll still continue. I've enjoyed it as a sideman. I'm ready to um, use my own voice a little more directly to people's ears and hope that it creates change for the better. That's next. And to have a family, which is not related to music, but I'm sure it will affect my music. Those are the next things I'd like to.
Yeah,
That's exciting.
Yeah,
that's exciting. Yeah.
and most of
I could. Can I? I want to be a padrino.
Yeah, yeah,
you will be. You will be.
yeah. I just want to be there.
Wow. Well, Crystal, we wish you all the
Yeah.
continued success. It's been an amazing conversation with you, but the world needs to know who Crystal Torres is and where you came from and how proud we are back in Philly, how you represent in LA in the big world and been able to hold on to these really, it's one thing to do a gig, it's another thing to hang on to them and be on them for 14 years like you have, and you've been with Alejandro for many years as well. And I mean, it's an amazing. This has been a really really proud moment for me and for Jesse and I think I think you're gonna have a lot of fans out there who love you, and some new fans are gonna love you and we're just happy that you did this. We're so proud of you and continue success. Y pa'lante.
Thank you.
Pa'lante.
I'm so
And
honored to be here with you. I would be nothing without what you guys poured into me and all the young people in Philly coming up. So I love you all, and just as
all right.
thank you.
Well,
Cool.
with that note, Sabes Que, did you know? Here on USALA Media. Thank you so much, Crystal Torres. Pa'lante.